Now, this is the type of person you want to be careful of. This guy clearly lacks a basic level of common sense. When I was doing the actual interview, I had a very difficult time trying to even grasp what he was talking about conceptually. I was working so hard to figure out what this kid was talking about that I stood there in confusion for what seemed like 20 minutes. What I do also find funny is that this is a white guy, but nobody is crying the white privilege card in his direction.
Okay, so what do you think about Donald Trump?
I think it's important to remember that Donald Trump's a human being just like all of us, but as far as being a leader, some of the words that he's chosen and the rhetoric that he's picked to come on the side of can divide us very severely and hurt us as a nation.
So what has he said that you didn't like?
So he's made stances about sending immigrant populations back to their native countries, about rejecting people who come here seeking peace from war-torn lands, and those are positions that I think divide us. I think those are positions that cause those people to feel alienated and not accepted in our culture, and those are feelings that eventually will weaken us as a nation.
So who are you voting for?
I don't know yet.
So what do you think about Obama?
Well, I won't be able to vote for Obama.
I didn't say, are you going to vote for him? I said, what do you think about Obama?
In what context?
Well, don't you think that he's divided the nation quite a bit with his racial issues, his racial hate?
Depends. I don't hear that much. I don't hear much of him that forces people to be in one of two categories. I see a lot of reaction to what he says, and I feel like that those reactions tend to put labels on people and tend to divide us based upon labels.
Do you remember Trayvon Martin? Mm-hmm. Do you remember when he said that he would like him to be his own son? Is that someone you would want to be your son?
Yeah.
Why?
So ultimately, all of us are sons and daughters of somebody else.
Do you know what Trayvon Martin was doing at the time he was killed?
No, I don't.
He was on lean. Lean is a drug.
What's that?
Lean is a drug. It's made from, it's a fruit juice. It's a soda and Skittles, and it makes you high. And what do you think about Michael Brown?
I think it's kind of sad. I mean, a youth that's on drugs like that.
Do you know why he got killed?
No, I don't know why.
Well, I'll tell you why he got killed. He assaulted a police officer.
Michael Brown?
Yeah, Michael Brown assaulted a police officer.
Do we know that?
Yeah, it was on camera. He went for the officer's gun. Do you think that's okay?
No, I don't think that's okay.
So is that somebody you would want to be your son?
Yeah.
Do you have kids?
No.
Would you, if you had a kid, would you be okay with them assaulting a police officer?
I think we should back up. I think the purpose of having a son is not to justify our own pride in ourselves.
No, I'm saying if you had a son, would you be okay with him assaulting a police officer? Would that be okay?
No, I don't think we should assault him.
I don't think we should assault anybody, but assaulting somebody who is putting their life on the line to defend people, like, would you be mad if somebody assaulted me?
Yeah, I would be.
Okay, thank you.
But mad at them or mad and anger and blame are all ways that we can divide ourselves from other people that we think are worthy of that blame or anger.
So, if one person assaults somebody, do you blame somebody else?
I think blame is the wrong way to look at it. I think collective contributions to responsibility are the higher calling, the higher order of human. And for us to assign blame releases all of us from that responsibility that we really should all feel. So all of us should feel collectively responsible.
Who would you hold accountable for that assault?
I think a larger collective of people.
So, who would be held accountable for an assault?
Is a specific who important?
Yeah.
Why?
Because what if you got assaulted today? What would you say? Wouldn't you want that person to be held accountable?
But I don't believe that it's a single person that can be held accountable. I think holding one person accountable is a way for the collective society to wash itself of its guilt of the circumstances that let that happen. And we should know that things don't happen just in specific silos like that.
So you would rather the general public pay for somebody else's actions?
I think the general public is already paying for the actions of the general public.
How so?
When there's collective outbursts of anger, when there's riots, when there's poverty and crime, when people's voices are not heard in the political process, all those are ways that our collective voices are being heard.
Now, stuff like that, that's just, you have to maintain control of your anger. If you're pissed off, if I'm pissed off at somebody I can't just beat the shit out of somebody. That's not right. So why would it make sense in the civilian world?
Why would you think that it's okay?
It's not okay.
Why would a person think that it's okay to do that?
I don't know. They're mentally unstable.
I think finding out why is an important step, don't you think?
But you also have to hold that person accountable. If a riot broke out, would you like to be held accountable for that?
What's the purpose of holding people accountable if you don't understand why you're holding them accountable?
Because that's civil order. That's kind of common sense.
So, don't you promote a better sense of civil order if you understand why people act out against civil order?
I'm still trying to get past, if you were assaulted today, who would you blame?
I don't need to blame one person.
So you wouldn't press charges against that specific person if you got a broken jawbone or a broken collarbone or a cheekbone?
I think my higher calling, if that were the case, I don't know if I would behave that way. I don't know if I'd be blinded by anger or fear, but my higher calling in that circumstance would be to forgive the individual that attacked me and to seek healing for that person as well as myself.
Interesting.
Isn't that why we're here? I mean, we're here to suffer at the hands of other people, so that both an assailant and an attacker grow from it. Rather than just the assailee, rather than just a plaintiff getting something out of it, like kind of litigious. I'm sure you're not a fan of like the litigious nature of American society, where something happens to me and I sue you for it, and then you sue me back. Right?
Well, of course not. Counter-sue sucks.
I think we're better off when we both recognize that a transgression took place, and we can cooperate together to heal both of ourselves. That's why I think it's sad to think of Trayvon Martin feeling like he has no other recourse but to be high. Or I feel like it's sad for any other person to feel like they have no other option other than to assault a police officer. There's something really sad about that. And I think it's important for us to at least acknowledge that in other beings that share the same kind of especially countries that we're defending against foreign invasion and foreign threats.
So personally for me, my father was killed he was a narcotic. He was a narc for the police. And he was shot in the back by a drug addict who he was leading to a drug deal. Now, do I blame you or him or anybody else here for Timothy Schaefer's actions? No, I blame him. Timothy Schaefer, who took my father away from me when I was 7 years old.
What created Timothy Schaefer?
What's that?
What created Timothy Schaefer?
I don't know. Nobody was there.
Well, what created the concept, the idea of Timothy Schaefer? A man who's so addled with drugs that he's going to shoot his father.
Well, we don't know if he was on drugs at the time, but we don't even know why he killed him.
It sounds like a really important question to ask in order to conclude about his father's death.
Well, due to police corruption, they didn't do an investigation. That's a long story. Blah,
That's
blah, blah.
another tragedy right there, right? It's not about me being right or being right.
No, I'm just getting your opinion. That's it.
My opinion is that we have to look to a wider network of responsibility. And there's a trend that I'm afraid of, that I personally feel afraid of, which is that Americans want to shed that responsibility and put that responsibility in one tight, neatly bound package and push that package off the table. When we're in the greater calling of being American, the greater calling of being a responsible voter is to be responsible and accept responsibility of things that happen around us.
So what do you think about Hillary Clinton?
I have ambivalence and difficulties with her.
So, what do you think about her killing 4 great Americans through her lack of ability to do her job?
I think she's part of a network responsibility. I think all of us are.
So, would you like to be held accountable for her actions?
Would I be?
Yeah.
I don't know if I would be willing to share accountability for part of her actions.
So why?
Well, the actions of me being a taxpayer who funded our involvement in Libya, a voter who voted for a representative of government, and members of representatives of government.
So would you go to jail for Hillary so that she doesn't have to serve as much time?
Yeah, I'd be willing to pay for that. I'd be willing to pay for what collective responsibility I own.
So, do you know what kind of leverage that would hold? Like what kind of time you would be serving for what she did? Probably like 20 years. You would never get to see the face of the sun again.
If that's the calling, if my calling is to serve for the time that I deserve to serve for, then I will. I'll take that.
Do you have a family?
Take that judgment. No. I'll take that judgment willingly. Right? That's what responsibility is about. You serve your country. Your father served his community. And we pay the price for that.
Interesting. All right.
Even if we're not dragged into a courtroom and forced to serve it, we do.